Cooking in the Marian Manner with Marian O'Brien.
And hello, here we are out in the patio today because spring is really here, and we're going to enjoy everything tastes better out in the patio. So we thought we'd mix our salad and have a little lunch that we're going to cook for you today that we think is a real springtime lunch, and take it outside under the sky. If the skies look a little bit cloudy, why, we'll just wait until the sun comes out a little. We're going to do, first of all, as our pièce de résistance, a real, original, authentic chef salad, because today we have gotten to the point where so many people toss a few greens together and call it chef salad that we think it should be a little clarified so that when you make a chef salad in your patio, it'll be one that you know is really, truly chef salad. I wanted to show you our bowl first. This is an old salad bowl that almost looks to me as though it originally was a dough bowl. The wood is so discolored that you can tell that it has gone through perhaps hundreds of years, at least dozens of years, of homemaking, and I love to use something like this. If you have anything like this in your family, as you move outdoors with your food this season, be sure and use it, because it adds a something to outdoors meals, a sort of a character that you don't get with anything else. To do our chef salad, we're going to start with 2 buds of garlic, and we're going to cut them in little crisscrosses like this. And we want to do this instead of using a garlic press, because a garlic press reduces the garlic to a liquid almost, and we want the little pieces of garlic in here. And then I'm going to show you a little salad trick with garlic that I think might be interesting for you to do. We're going to press it with the back of a spoon or with our salad tosser, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. Notice now that this is all done in the bottom of your salad bowl, and it could be done right at the table. I think this adds a great deal to it because all your guests will be thinking, my, how sophisticated she or he is. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt and then press this into the garlic. And I don't think that you'll be able to see it, but as this is pressed, the garlic begins to liquefy. We get a kind of an oil on the bottom of our bowl that's much, much more effective than the rubbing the bowl with garlic that so many of us do. As a matter of fact, that so many chefs have told us to do. This is all that goes into our chef salad. A chef salad is just good vinegar and good oil and a little touch of garlic, and then all the wonderful things that go on top of it. Our garlic will be pressed so that it won't disappear, but it'll be soft enough so that no one will bite into it. And you could use 1 clove or 2 cloves. A chef salad, after all, is made of what you like or what you have in the house, so there's no point in making hard and fast rules about it. And then in proportions of 1 to 3, that is 1/3 cup of vinegar to a cup of oil, we're going to add a little vinegar and a little oil, and we're going to be a little careful about it because we don't want too much salad. This is the one thing that kills a good salad, is so much dressing that our leaves, our greens, are drowned in it. Then they wilt and give up, and we have that horrible thing, a wilted salad, which none of us wants to serve. There's our 1/3 vinegar to 3 parts of oil, and then a good twist of fresh ground pepper. I like an extra good twist, and have your pepper grinder set at a coarse grind so that you can see the little flecks of dark through it. And then we begin with our greens. We're going to pair them, because in a chef salad, we get a much more effective salad this way. We're going to have a little head of Bibb lettuce, and always, too, remember, this is very important, to have your bowl big, 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 so that you can toss your salad without having anything run over the side. Here's our red-leaved oak lettuce. Isn't that beautiful? We're going to have a few handfuls of it torn into bite-sized pieces. Remember, not to let the pieces be too. Here again, if you could just smell the good fresh smell of the greens and the tartness of the vinegar. Garden lettuce that's so beautiful now. A little smaller. You can have all this done ahead of time if you like and bring it out in a pretty basket or a wire greens dryer. But I wanted you to see our pretty lettuce leaves as they are before they're cut into pieces. And this is why I wanted to have it in our basket and do it right here at the table in the patio for you. And then endive or endive, whichever you want to call it, for crispness. for texture and for its beautiful, beautiful dark green color in our salad bowl. I think that just about gives us, it almost looks like a bouquet in a basket, doesn't it? That just about gives us enough for our bowl. And to this then, we add what makes a chef salad, and what Louis Diat, who originally served the chef salad, admitted one day was just a serving of what he happened to have in the kitchen. So let your chef salad, too, be a serving of what you happen to have in the kitchen, and don't worry about having anything extra special for it, except that it must be extra special good and extra special fresh. We're going to use some slices of tongue, and this, of course, could be cut into julienne strips. I left mine in little semicircles because this was tongue in glass, and it came out of the bowl shaped this way, and I just thought it looked kind of pretty. This will go across one side. Doesn't this make you feel that spring is here? There's just nothing like a salad to bring the season home to you, and nothing like mixing it so that you can get all the good smells to make you realize that all the cooked dishes are fine and they're wonderful accompaniments, but there's nothing, especially in this season, like beautiful, beautiful green vegetables and the marvelous, marvelous smell of them. We added a little Swiss cheese now in julienne strips, and a cucumber in little narrow julienne strips. And then we're going to have some wedges of hard-cooked egg. You know, you could have this for supper tonight, and it would be so wonderful, especially if you still have some ham left from Easter, because the ham in julienne strips is another one of the original ingredients of chef salad. And sometimes I think that perhaps it adds more to a salad than any of the other ingredients that we're using here. And as a final touch, you might add a few strips of green onion, or what I'm using today is leek, because after we get back to the kitchen, we're going to make leek and potato soup. And this, of course, tops our greens. And we bring it to the table thus, in all its beauty, and give it one big toss, and then serve it on great big plates so that everyone can have as much as they like. And really, with this and a good hot bread, you won't need anything else. It'll be that delicious. I wish you could smell it. I have to take one more good smell, and then we'll get back to the kitchen. But before I get back, I want to tell you why we set our little meal in the garden today, in the patio. It was because we had big news for you from Laclede, and the news was that this is your chance to get your handsome gas light, like the one in our patio. It's in just exactly the style that you've been thinking about, at a really unusual saving. Laclede has proclaimed May 1st as Gaslight Day in St. Louis, and for that one day only, May 1st, every single one at Laclede will be out in force, from the president on down to the lowliest file clerk, every last one of them. And all the orders dated May 1st will carry a special low price with free normal installation and payments as low as $1 a month with no interest or carrying charges either. You pick out a place in your garden or your yard where you want to set your favorite gaslight model, and you'll find, once you begin to select, that there are styles for every single taste and for every kind of landscaping and architectural setting, and you just can't help but find one that exactly suits you. All of them are on display now down at Laclede's showrooms, and believe me, once you see them, you'll say that outdoor lighting has never been so gracious. And the big thing to remember, that besides being gracious, it's practical. Besides being charming, it's practical. It gives you a glow. Never, never a glare, just exactly the kind of light that you want outside. So don't miss this chance to turn on the charm outside with a gas light, and especially on Gaslight Day, it's May 1st, so you keep a lookout for the guy or gal who will be calling on you from Laclede, or if you want additional information, you can call Central 1-3800, and someone there at Laclede will be glad to give you everything that you need. Now then, I'll get back to the kitchen to get on with all the things that we have in store, because somehow or other, with May coming in, spring coming in, I feel differently about everything. I don't think that with this season we say to ourselves that it's warm, we don't want to cook. When we're cooking with gas, it's fun to cook, and we're tickled to death to do it. And the first dish that we want to do for you is vichyssoise, because I think this will be something that will be so much fun for you to do during the hot weather that you'll be doing it over and over again. And what I had in mind as I planned it was that this is another one of the dishes that we hear so much about and seldom really know how to do. And all of you young cooks who watch us, I wanted to know how to do a really good vichyssoise without worrying about it, because it's the simplest soup in the world. I began mine a little ahead of time by heating 2 cups of chicken broth, and to this I added 2 cups of chopped leek and 2 cups of chopped potato. And I want to show you a leek while we're here, because I'll bet $1 some of you have never seen it. This is leek, and as you can see, it's just a huge, looks almost like a huge green onion. And when you see it in the store, it'll have a big clump of roots at this end. And it's a must for vichyssoise for the simple reason that leek has a very delicate spatial flavor that you don't get in any other onion. Once leeks have left us, they're a seasonal vegetable, you know, and they're with us only in just about the same length of time that strawberries are. So that this is why I wanted you to enjoy them now while they're here. After they're gone, you can use green onions or dried onions, but try it. Try to have it while leek is here. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that when you get your recipe leaflet, it will say 1/4 cup of chopped onion or leek to 2 cups of diced potatoes. And I did this way because I'm never sure exactly how much you like onion. I happen to love onion, and I love the flavor of the leek in the vichyssoise, so I use equal quantities. But you adjust this for your own taste. I put mine on the top burner with the chicken broth and cooked it about 20 minutes until the potatoes were very, very, very soft. And now I'm going to put it through a food mill so as to puree the whole mixture and give us a smooth, smooth soup, because this is what vichyssoise originally was, a sort of a cream soup, so that when you blend it, when you dip your spoon into it, it's just like velvet. This is the way I want yours to be. And I wanted to mention something else, that I'm doing it in the food mill. I wonder how many of you have used a food mill. You should have one right in the kitchen, along with the grater and all the other good, sturdy kitchen gadgets that mean so much to you, because especially with fruit coming in, you'll be using it so often that, well, you'll use it for practically everything. I like it for this kind of thing rather than the blender. So many vichyssoise recipes will say to you that you can whirl this in the blender, but there is a difference. To me, I think that you'll find that to you, too, as you begin to taste things and say to yourself, what is different about this dish than there was about the same dish when I tried it some other time. As you whirl even the basic ingredients like this in a blender, to me it's kind of reduced to an indistinguishable mass. It's almost liquefied. But putting it through a food mill in this fashion, you get a smooth product, a smooth food, a smooth ingredient, without that loss of character that it has, that you find sometimes in the blender. So they're very inexpensive anyway. Get yourself a food mill. You'll need it for jelly making time. And put your cooked potatoes and leek through the food mill. I think that just about gets it. I know this takes a little time, but I wanted you to see a food mill because I thought that if some of you who have never used one saw it and saw how much fun it was to use and the difference that it made in your food, you might be tempted to buy one and try it and perhaps see what different things you can do with it. Now then, this Foley food mill, by the way, is a good one. It has a little thing underneath that scrapes off the food as it comes through the mill. Now then, we stir this well. As a matter of fact, there's a little on the edge. This almost looks, well, the thing that I can most easily compare it with is applesauce. This is what it looks like. And then we're going to turn on our top burner at the simmer at a very low heat and add your recipe leaflet, again, when you get it, will say 1 cup of light cream. But I brought 2 cups because sometimes if your potatoes are very thick, you will have enough potato puree to take 2 cups of light cream. I think that this one's just about going to take the 1 cup, though. And then with this, remember that once you add the cream, you must never, never let our soup boil because the cream will separate if you do, and you'll have a very disagreeable soup. So you could heat this in the double boiler, but of course over our simmer burner, are on the thermal burner set to 200 degrees. You just never have to worry about it. I'm going to add just a bit more cream, and then we add a little salt and pepper, and we're all ready to go. There we are. With, of course, the added ingredient of chopped chives. I almost wish I could do a commercial for you today on chopped chives, because to me, they're in the same class with strawberries and all the beautiful greens and the leeks. Chopped chives in the garden means spring, and chopped chives on top of your, that's something hard to say, chopped chives. We could say Charlie picked something of chopped chives. We'll heat our soup up and spoon it into our little, aren't these cute little soup plates? Our little soup plate, and then add a few chopped chives that we cut right off our pot, and we'll have it all ready to show to you. And of course, this can be eaten either hot or cold. As it chills, it gets even a bit thicker because the chicken broth that it was cooked in will thicken up and begin to gel as it chills, so that it has almost a semi-solid sort of a quality chilled, or it's delicious just as it is, hot, and eaten with perhaps ham or something of that kind. It's one of the greatest of all the French dishes, and I want you to try it because it's something that, now isn't that a knife to chop chives with? It's something that you should know so that you can talk to your friends about it and let them know that you're acquainted with dishes like this. Just a little green. If you don't have chives, parsley will do, but they won't be as good as chives, so have a little pot of chives. You should have some in your garden anyway. Now then, doesn't it look appetizing? We'll put our leeks away. And as you get a chance to look at our soup, this gives me a chance to tell you about the next thing that we're so enthusiastic about today. Let me remind you first, though, that all of our recipes will be on this week's recipe leaflet, together with a recipe for a wonderful cooked dressing, which actually should go with your chef salad that you serve out in the patio or wherever you serve it. The original chef salad was mixed, as I showed you, over in the patio with the French dressing in the bottom of the bowl, and then it's tossed until the leaves are coated. But a saucer, or a cup rather, of cooked salad dressing was always passed with it, so that after you serve yourself with the dressing, as you serve yourself with the salad, a light coating of the cooked dressing is spooned over the top, just as you'd spoon sauce or cream. And this adds so much smoothness and so much delight to the salad that it'll be a real revelation to you. You just have no idea how different it'll be. The address, you know, is Laclede Gas Company, 11th and Olive Street, St. Louis 1, Missouri. And you be sure and send for it right away so that you have both the salad and the dressing and the way to put it together. Our dressing on our leaflet is made with non-fat dry milk, and I did this because woefully I have been thinking that with spring coming in, we're going to have to cut down a little, and you are going to have to cut down a little with me so that we can compare. So the non-fat dry milk cuts down the calories in our dressing, and it has a very low fat content, too, so you won't have to worry about adding calories as you prepare our little lunch. Now then, for our pies, but first let me tell you about our flowers. We were going to have them in the patio, and then they were so beautiful that I thought we need them in the kitchen to bring spring into the kitchen today. These are flowering peach and flowering crab, and as they bloomed in our garden, I thought to myself that they surely were the most beautiful things that I ever saw. They're, all the trees are just so lush this year that you feel like you want to go out and cut them off right at the stump and bring the whole tree inside. So we're having ours in the kitchen so that we can enjoy them all day long. Pick a little bouquet today. Even if you think about picking a bouquet of parsley or something, even if you don't have flowers, do that and bring it into the kitchen and enjoy it while you can. Now then, this again was especially designed for those of you who are young cooks or who want to be good cooks and are trying to keep house and keep a job going at the same time, because I know what a problem this is. It's something so new that to me it was almost a revelation. All I could think of as I worked with it was, why hasn't someone thought of this before? And I wanted you to have it now because as all the fruits and berries come into the markets in the next few weeks, you will have bargains that you'll be able to pick up that you can hardly resist. And sometimes we pick up some of these bargains and then wonder if it just isn't too much work to take care of them right away. But once you do them this way, you'll find that it's no work at all. We're going to make a pie filling and freeze it outside of the crust and then show you how to store it and have it ready so that when you want a fresh fruit pie next winter, all you have to do is roll the crust, drop in the filling, put it in the oven, and you're ready to go. Our pie that stands on the front of our counter is rhubarb pineapple, because pineapples are reasonable this week, too. But we're going to make strawberry rhubarb to show you, just because the strawberries were so beautiful that I couldn't resist them. They're not really a good buy yet. There are some strawberries from Louisiana that are fairly reasonable, but the real pretty ones are quite expensive, and until the Arkansas strawberries come in, you won't probably find them at a price that you'll want to pay, but we wanted you to have this ahead of time so that you could sort of count on it. Use for each pie 2 cups of half berries, or 2 cups of pineapple in chunks, and 2 cups of cut rhubarb. And with the rhubarb, I had another little hint. We're full of hints today. Cut your rhubarb with the kitchen shears. It'll be the biggest time saver that you ever came across, and it'll save all that pretty little pink skin for you. You know, when you cut rhubarb with a knife, the skin sometimes pulls off. If you do it with the shears, it cuts right through both sides, and the skin is left on each piece. So cut it into about 1-inch chunks, and then to each 4 cups of fruit, we're going to add, now wait till I check because I want you to have the exact measurements of sugar for this. We're going to add 1 and 1/4 cups of sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which I have already added to the sugar. That's a funny thing. Once, a long time ago, when we were doing this show, we were packing up a chef salad to take along to the station, and it was a Caesar salad, and I wanted to have the eggs protected so that they wouldn't break, and so I stuck them in the bottom of the bowl and then piled the greens on top of them. And lo and behold, when we got to the studio, no one could remember what had happened to the eggs, so we just put the salad bowl right in front of the camera, and as I went to toss the salad, up came the 2 raw eggs. So you know what I did this morning? I had these 2 eggs that I wanted to bring to make our dressing with, and I thought to myself, where can I pack these 2 eggs so they won't get broken? So I said to myself, I'll put them in this sugar bag, because the sugar will take care of any wax that they get. So that was the 1 egg that you just saw. To this we add, and this is the ingredient that makes this possible, 3 tablespoons of quick cooking tapioca. And we simply toss this until the fruit is coated. You'll see that there is enough moisture from the strawberries or any berry that you use. This is delicious with raspberries or gooseberries. A good old English gooseberry pie is a real treat. And the recipe that you will have on your leaflet will call for blueberries and cherries. And then we line an 8-inch pie pan. I hope that you can see this because I want you to see our pie, but I want you to see how we do this too. Tear off a strip of foil about 10 inches longer than your 8-inch pie pan and line the pie pan with the foil. Press it down well so that you have the exact shape of the pie pan. And into this we pile our fruit. And you'll find that this will stand up quite a good deal above the top of the pie pan itself. But next winter, when you're cooking your strawberry pie, it will sink down some because, of course, the fruit cooks down, all of you know that. Now then, in goes our 4 cups of fruit, 1 1/4 cup sugar, and 3 tablespoons of tapioca. And I wanted to tell you that if you're using a very watery fruit like strawberries, it might be a good idea to add 1 more tablespoon. If you're using strawberries, add 1 more tablespoon of tapioca, 4 tablespoons altogether. We then simply fold over our foil and use the usual good old double drugstore wrap that we use for freezing purposes, and stick it in the freezer until it is frozen hard. And then, of course, when it's frozen hard, we can lift it out of the pan. I'm going to show you because I have one frozen here that we'll be able to lift out and show you how beautifully it acts. It might be a little easier for you to freeze the fruit first before you fold the foil over, because then it's hard and you're not apt to pull it out of shape. But once it's frozen, you see, you can lift your package out of the pie pan and simply crease the edges so that you have a perfect package for the freezer, and at the same time this releases your pie pan so that you don't have pie pans tied up in the freezer. When you're ready to cook your pie this winter, all you have to do is roll out your crust, and in the baking we use a 9-inch pie pan. Well, I've had such a good seal on this one I can't get it open. But I want you to see, this is strawberries and rhubarb, just as we fixed just now to show you. And as we prepare our crust and get it ready for baking, we simply peel off the foil, and as you can see, with a mixture that's as heavy with sugar as this one, there will, even after a month in the freezer, be a little liquid here where the sugar has liquefied. But just drop the whole thing into your 9-inch pie crust and put a little lattice top on it, as we did on ours. And I think I'll turn this over so that you can see it even as we go off the air, because it will give you an idea of how beautifully the filling holds once you have it wrapped and shaped. The other thing that will give you a real pretty finish for your pie is crust, and I'm afraid that we're not going to have time to do it for you today, but I wanted to tell you that this too will be on your recipe leaflet. Let me give you the address once more. It's Home Service Department, Laclede Gas Company, 11th and Olive Street, St. Louis 1, Missouri, because this to me has been really perhaps the greatest thing that we've been able to give you all this season, and I want you to have this pie idea. The lattice top that I wanted to do for you was sent to us a long time ago when we first started here at KMOX with Paul Bernard, and Mrs. Clara Bemler down in Bellflower, Missouri, was watching us one day, and I was having trouble making a lattice crust. You know how it is when you try to weave in the strips and sometimes the cross strips break, and I was really having a time that day. So Mrs. Bemler wrote us a letter and said that she was amused at the trouble I was having, and that she would give us a non-fail, absolutely foolproof way of making a lattice crust. So this too is on your recipe leaflet today, and you will have more fun with it when you get it, because just like our pie frozen in the pan, it's the absolutely foolproof way that is so simple that you say to yourself, why in the world didn't I ever think of this before? So that it'll be a real revelation for you. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week.
Laclede Gas has presented Let's Eat with Marian O'Brien, directed by Bob Miller. Laclede Gas Company reminds you that the 13th Annual Book Fair for the benefit of the Nursery Foundation of St. Louis will be held at the West Road Shopping Center, Clayton and Brentwood on May 2nd to the 5th. And now, from your Laclede Gas Company, a very pleasant good afternoon.